looks good in hindsight. You have to leave it out 40 seconds. What do you think is okay?
The short answer to all these questions? Yes. The COVID-19 vaccine is proven to be safe and effective for ages 12 and up. Feeling good about the fact? Visit macho.ca.gov today to schedule a vaccination appointment or find a walk-in clinic near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Kfi Am 640. You do scratch off, fella? You don't strike me as a woman who's in there scratching off with her coffee and her donut every morning. Weeknights at 6. Okay, just to let you know, so you don't have to talk. Bill handle. Don't waste your time. Mornings from 6 to 10 on KFI.
There ain't no goodbye. True love takes a lot of crying. Oh, I'm crying.
From the gateway to the west, this is Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie.
ParanormalDate.com, 733 people shy of 119,000 signed up members, and it's free to sign up. Give it a try at ParanormalDate.com. You might meet somebody that you really like. And if you're over 60, Tommy, what do we have?
Well, you know, the heart's the funny thing, and sometimes the heart desires a person who's a bit more mature, and we've got you covered there as well with ParanormalDate.com/seniors for those who are 60 plus. So you can check it out and have some fun. Seniors 60 plus are waiting for you at ParanormalDate.com/seniors, and don't forget about ParanormalDate.com.
At ParanormalDate.com, you meet the most fantastic people.
Hi, I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. What brings you here?
Yeah, I'm here to meet someone who understands me.
How so?
Well, I'm into UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot, conspiracy theories, the paranormal, that kind of stuff. But can't seem to find anyone who gets it.
Oh, well, nice to meet you, Tom. I gotta go.
Okay, guess that's not your cup of tea. You sure?
Very. Good luck with that.
I can't meet anyone when I'm out, and I really can't find a website for my unique interest. What does one to do?
Have you thought about ParanormalDate.com?
What? Who are you?
I'm a paranormal matchmaker, and it's ParanormalDate.com. It's a website for people looking for people like them. Stuff you like, remember?
Interesting. I'll give it a try.
Well, let's try this again.
Hi, I'm Tom.
Hey, I'm Deb. Your profile on ParanormalDate.com looked very interesting. So you really saw a UFO?
Well, yeah. It was so intense, but not as intense as meeting you.
You're an alien chasing flirt, but I kind of like it.
Wow, this ParanormalDate.com thing really works.
Maybe ParanormalDate.com is for you. People with an interest in things they hear on George's show find their match daily. So if you're looking for that special someone with an interest in UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot, conspiracy theories, and of course, the paranormal, come to the dating site inspired by George Norrie. It's always free to search, and if you decide to upgrade to our amazing new features, use promo code GEORGE for a great discount. ParanormalDate.com. You are not alone. You know, fall is kind of hectic to really fret over meal preparations between work, social obligations. You need some free hours for yourself, quality time for you, your loved ones, and you don't want to worry about doing a lot of dishes and chopping a lot of vegetables. And you can lighten your load if you can just simply focus on your true priorities. I recommend HelloFresh. HelloFresh delivers pre-portioned ingredients right to your doorstep, giving you a head start on meals and freeing up the rest of the evening for much needed me time. They're really great. It's 30% cheaper than the grocery store. HelloFresh saves you both time, a trip, and some money. And the produce is great, everything's good, and they have 50 always changing weekly menus. And the recipes come in full color, easy step-by-step instructions. Anybody can do it. HelloFresh eases your chaotic schedule. Go to HelloFresh.com/George14 and use code George14 to get up to 14 free meals, including free shipping. How about that? So go to HelloFresh.com/George14 and use code George14.
Fast and powerful, the new 2011
Now, when the news channels start using terms like quantitative easing and now tapering a lot, you know there's trouble ahead. What does it mean? Well, despite everything you hear, it just means less money in your pocket. Fewer dollars to spend. Everything costs more. Food, gas, utilities, all going up. Does anything cost less than last year? It's bad enough if you're young, but if you're close to retirement, it could be a disaster for your savings. A gold or silver IRA or 401k with Noble Gold will solve this inflation problem for good. And they're giving away a free 5-ounce solid silver America the Beautiful bullion coin with each qualifying plan you start this month as a thank you. Not bad, huh? The best part? You'll speak to an expert. No hassle, no pressure, just a look at your options and what you can do to stop the Fed stealing your hard-earned money. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com or call us at 877-646-5347.
And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you with Lynn Monet, author of Omnipresent and Omnipresent What Happened Next. And we're talking about the next. So the second night, Lynn, that you spent in the house wasn't a very pleasant night, was it?
No. As a matter of fact, it was the first night that, of the 2 nights that we took our dog with us. And we had a little schnauzer named Sally. And she did not want to go into the house.
She sent something.
Yes, she did. I mean, she bulked so bad that her collar came over her head. So at first I thought maybe she just needed to go to the bathroom. I was still in denial. My kids, of course, had been seeing things but weren't saying anything at that point. So finally, I ended up having to carry her into the house. And she kind of darted around looking for an exit. And a little while later showed up in the kitchen trembling. And, of course, I thought she was cold, but an event did happen with the children and the demons presenting themselves in the downstairs area, with the dog in the room, and she was trying to find a way to get out. But when we got there, I had blow-up mattresses for the floor for the kids. They were excited about doing a sleepover, and I was continuing to do work in the house. And I finally decided I wanted to finish one room, so I went into the master bathroom and painted it and got that finished. And at about 11:30 at night, I went into the kitchen to clean up the paintbrushes. And, of course, my kids were sleeping on the master bedroom floor with the 2 blow-up mattresses, and the dog was settled between them. And as I'm getting ready to leave the kitchen, where the ascending and descending stairs were, there was a wrought iron railing just as you exited the kitchen that would protect you from falling over the descending stairs. And as I'm getting ready to cross that, I catch out of my peripheral vision this thing shooting up from the lower levels, went across the front double entry doors and up the ascending stairs and right in front of me, then shot down the hallway. And this thing was like nothing I had ever seen before. It appeared dog-like in a sense. It had narrowing to the nose of its face with large openings like horse nares. Openings. It almost took up the whole end of its face. It stood about 5'7". It was just a little bit shorter than me, and it was up on its haunches, and its feet were fluttering so fast underneath it that you would just see the fluttering. It was kind of hunched over a little bit. It had ears literally on each side of its head like the FTD man. It's the only way that I knew how to describe it. And they were like rabbit ears that were turned backwards, grazing over the shoulders of this thing. So it shot down the hallway, and I stood there. I was frozen.
You're in shock, right?
Yes. I'm like, what was that? And I'm thinking, okay, again, I'm rationalizing. I've been painting. I might have gotten some fumes. I might have a little bit of low blood sugar.
Well, and you're in a medical field, so you think something got to me, right?
Exactly. And, of course, too, I was trying to rationalize because I didn't have window coverings on all of the windows, so I was thinking maybe a motorcycle or something went under a light outside, but really that didn't make sense. But of course I was trying to, in that moment, rationalize what I had just seen. And then I hear my dog growling at the end of the hallway. And I thought, oh my gosh, so I kind of snapped out of my thoughts at that moment and went down to quiet her so that she wouldn't wake up the children. And when I walked into the master bedroom, she was standing there fixated on that doorway, and her hair was up on the back of her neck, and I've never ever had seen her do that. And she was growling and growling and growling, and I kind of tried to soothe her to try to quiet her. And of course, I didn't see anything in the room. Of course, she was sensing something that was there. So I took her outside, had to carry her back in, and we all ended up nestling in and going to sleep. And that morning when we woke up, I said to my daughter, how did you sleep? And she said, I didn't. She said, I felt like something was standing in the doorway watching me all night long.
Now, had you made a decision at this point not to go back to this house?
No, because, well, for one thing, I was locked in on a mortgage. So as things kind of proceeded along, I thought there was going to be a solution for it. I thought I could have a blessing done. I thought, I had multiple religions in there.
At this point, are you thinking it's haunted?
No, I'm still thinking
it still hasn't hit you yet. Okay.
So when my son gets up that morning, he had taken a bath the night before and put on his little pajamas, and they were shorts, and I looked and he had bite marks on his leg.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and they looked like dog bite marks, but the mouth was smaller than my dog, and my dog wasn't prone to biting. And I asked him, I said, Austin, you've got bite marks on your legs. What happened? He had 3 of them. There were 2 on the left leg and 1 on the right leg. One was up near the front of the thigh.
And clearly they were bite marks.
Yes, they were purple. They were purple. And you could count the teeth. Let's put it that way. And again, it wasn't like a human bite mark. So I asked him, did you do that with your dinosaur toy? Or thought maybe he was jamming it on his leg, but he didn't even have the dinosaur there. So we got up and we left. And I got the kids to school. And, I'm still kind of rattled from this a little bit, and I'm thinking about it. So I kind of stayed away from the house for a couple of days. And, of course, got back into the normal life of working and taking care of kids, and then I started to think, your imagination was running wild. You didn't see what you saw,
And did you still have the mobile home, Lynn?
Yes.
So you're staying in that while you're contemplating the other house?
Exactly. So I didn't have to sleep there. I had a place to go, thank goodness. So things kind of continued to amp up with, I couldn't keep workers in the house. I had 4 different workers in the house. Everybody didn't stay past 2 o'clock. I had one guy leave. He left his DeWalt tools behind. And they always had reasons that sounded kind of legitimate. One guy had another job come up. Another one had somebody in the hospital. But the third person was a friend of mine's cousin. So I actually got to find out what happened in the house with him and why he wouldn't stay. So I was there the day that he was there working on putting in the wooden flooring in my son's bedroom. And I'm standing in the hallway painting, and I noticed this young man coming up, not the worker was in my son's bedroom. I see out of my peripheral vision this young man coming up the ascending stairs into the main level, and I turned, and it was so real that I said, "Did you knock?" And of course,
and you didn't know who he was, right?
Right, exactly. The guy in the room thought that I was talking to him, and he says, "No, I didn't knock. I must have dropped something." And then when I looked directly at the stairs where I could see the young man, he had on jeans, he had on a white Oxford shirt, brown hair parted down the middle, 80s kind of look with the no socks and penny loafers.
How old did he look like?
Probably about 16 or 17.
All right.
Yeah, so when I turned and looked directly at him, there was nobody there. And I could kind of see the waffling in the air, which sometimes the spirits, if they get up close to people that are used to seeing them, they have it looks like gas vapors almost in the
So
air.
these apparitions are popping in and out. You see them, you don't see them, back and
Exactly.
forth. Okay.
Yes. So at that point, I'm like, oh, okay, we have ghosts in the house, so I need to do a clearing. I need to have somebody come and do a blessing or smudge the house, or I can do it myself maybe. And so I left that day, and I'm in the school line to pick up my kids, and I get a call from the guy that's putting the flooring down, and he said to me, I have to leave. There's something wrong with this house. There's something with this house that I've never experienced anything like this before. I have to go. And the line dropped.
He got spooked, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I tried to call him, and I couldn't get through. Finally, about an hour later, he answers his phone, and I said, what happened? And he said, oh, nothing, but I would really rather be there when you're there. When are you coming back? And I explained that I wasn't coming back. It was Friday. I had to work.
So he didn't want to be alone.
No, he did not. And I told him, I said, listen, my furniture is going to be starting to be delivered next week, and I need to have the wooden flooring done. And he, said that he would come back with his girlfriend then and stay in the house, because it was functioning. My daughter had her bedroom set up, so he could have stayed there. And so, but he never ended up coming back. So I asked my friend, I said, listen, the next time that you see your cousin, would you ask him what happened? Because he never came back. I have a feeling...
So you had an unfinished floor, I guess.
Exactly. And I said, I have a feeling that it had something to do with something paranormal in that house. And so she said that she would ask him. So 4th of July comes. He's at her house, had a couple of beers, so he's a little talkative. And she asked him, she said, what happened at Lynn's house? And he said, oh my gosh, he said, I feel so bad about that. Lynn is such a nice lady. He said, but he said, that house is words that I can't say on the radio. And he said, there's no way, that I could have gone back there. And she said, well, what happened? And he went on to tell her that he was sitting on this bench with wheels. It was like a garden bench, and he was kind of wheeling back and forth with it, so he didn't have to bend down and be on his knees. And he had his trowel and his adhesive. He had his trowel and his little mallet, because it was tongue and groove flooring with adhesive, and a wooden block to kind of tap it into place. And he put a piece of flooring in, and he went to reach for his tools, and they were gone. He thought maybe he rolled over them, so he rolled a little bit more over, and they still weren't there. He kind of turned to look at the door, and there his tools were, lined up paralleling each other, all three of them, right smack dab in front of the door. And of course, he's like, okay, wait a minute, I didn't put them there, but they are there. Maybe Lori came back, or Lynn came back and was playing a joke. Maybe she snuck in behind me, I didn't hear her, maybe she moved the tools. So he actually got up and started looking into the hallway and calling for me. And of course then I didn't answer, and he was kind of spooked by that, so he went ahead and he turned the light on in the room, and he had this battery-operated radio that he turned on. And he sits back down, takes the tools, sits back down to continue putting in the flooring, and all of a sudden the light turns itself off, then the radio turns itself off, and he can hear his tools moving behind him, and as he looks over, they lined up exactly the way that they were when he had previously had to walk over there and pick them up, and he couldn't get out of there fast enough. When he did leave, the windows on the house, they were kind of oblong, and they opened with cranks. They had an air conditioner in there running to dry out the floor, and the area above it was open, so bugs and rain and whatever could come in, and of course I was working the weekend. So when I did get a hold of him, I asked him, I said, did you secure the windows? And he said, no, I didn't. So I ended up having to go back there, excuse me, on that Friday night.
Close those windows.
Yes, just pull in the air conditioner, close the windows. So I asked my friend, my neighbor, if she would go with me, and she agreed. So while we're driving there, I tell her that I think there's a ghost in the house, and does she believe in ghosts? And she's like, oh, yeah. And I said, well, listen, I appreciate you going with me. I was a little spooked about going myself at night at that point. And I said, you don't have to go inside. I'll get your neighbor across the street to help me if you're not comfortable. And she says, no, it doesn't bother me. So when we got to the house, of course, that lock was a problem. And she went ahead, I'm trying to get my key out after getting the door open, and she went into the foyer and she said, you're not going to let the boogeyman get me, are you? And they targeted her. Lo and behold, we went into...
They didn't think it was funny, that's why.
No, they don't like being mocked. So we went in, we pulled in the air conditioner, we secured the windows, and I had asked my friend Ellen to go into the kitchen with me. I was proud because I had gotten these beautiful Morgan horse carved heads that I was going to, my daughter was having a wild horse thing done in her room, and I was going to drape the valance of the curtains over those heads in a bed to kind of draw on the theme. So Ellen and I are standing in the kitchen, and Ellen's holding one of those heads in each of her hands, and I hear this buzzing, gurgling sound that I had heard once before when, when a demon had kind of presented. And it sounded like a didgeridoo, but it had a little bit more of a static sound to it, but it was like that wah-wah sound. And I didn't say anything because I thought that I was the only person that could hear it. And all of a sudden Ellen says, "What's that sound?" I said, "You can hear that?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "Remember I told you about the ghost in the house, and I'm just going to show you this. We're gonna leave in a minute." And all of a sudden she starts screaming. She says, "What is it? Is the fire? Is it a spider bite? There's something on fire on my back." She says, "What is it?" She's trying to grab her shirt to pull it around to see if maybe there was a bug on her or something.
Sure.
And I pulled up the back of her shirt to check her, and she had a 4-inch long claw mark on her back between her shoulder blades, and it was even underneath her where her bra strap went across, but it was underneath that. And I'm looking at this, and as a medical professional, this wound was welting, just starting to be blood, and that is a response.
And that just happened.
Right, an initial wound. Even if you bump a scab off or something, that welting thing does not happen again.
When, at what point did you decide, I'm out of here, I'm done with this house?
After I had had multiple people come to try to clear the house, and it seemed like the attacks got worse, then they got better, then getting better, and so finally, after I had an Episcopalian priest and a Presbyterian minister at the house at the same time.
How much time lapse had gone from when this was going on, when you were having it cleansed?
About 6 months.
6 months? Okay, so you owned it about 6 months and never moved in there?
No. No, and again, I bought it in March, and I was planning on moving in there in June, but then that didn't happen because of all of the things that had happened.
What was that final strike that made you decide, I'm out of here?
When the house had been cleared, and the Episcopalian priest told me that it was okay to go back with the children.
And he was wrong.
And he was wrong, yes. I took the children back, and 2 of the children were attacked, and I was there mowing the grass. My son was there with a friend, and my daughter was there, and I'm downstairs putting gasoline.
Did you move your furniture in there and all that stuff?
At that point, part of my furniture was moved in there, but I had bought new furniture, so I still had furniture in the single wide for my kids to sleep on, and I had their brand new bedroom suits already put together.
And you're paying the mortgage on this house that you're not even in, right?
That's right, and of course I'm paying rent and things on lot rent and things on the other one.
And you're already out of financial distress because of your divorce.
Exactly, and also, doing the renovations on the house, trying to, put the wooden flooring in and paying to get moved, and, the deposits and the electric bills in both places. So yes, it was a financial stress. But
how long was the house on the market when you sold it?
Oh gosh, maybe 45 days.
That's all?
Yeah.
All right, We're going to take a quick break, Lynn. When we come back, I want you to tell us what happened to the new owners after you sold this house, and we'll also open up the phone lines and take some calls about this. Lynn Monet, her book, Omnipresent, What Happened Next?
Find out more about tonight's guest. Log on to coasttocoastam.com.
I have a sign in my office. It's
Diet Pepsi okay?
And the answer is
Monopoly money okay? Bill Handle. Mornings from 6 to 10 on KFI.
As usual, this year for Halloween, I'm going to dress up as a devil. A handsome devil. And now, the top 5 reasons to visit Morongo. Number 5.
Halloween freebie. Rewards members get a light-up pumpkin necklace on Halloween.
Number 4.
Trick, treat, win. Load up on candy and win up to $300 in free slot play when you earn 100 points on your rewards cards the 31st.
3.
Baseball's biggest games on big screen. The whole world will be watching, and so will you at Morongo.
And the number 2.
Entertainment is back. Gypsy King, November 5th. Robin 6, November 13th.
And the number 1 reason.
Rob Lowe, Keith Sweat, and Clint Black all this year. Go to MorongoCasinoResort.com to check out the full lineup.
Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Morongo. Good time!
IQ Air wants to give you the cleanest air possible, and the affordable Autumn series does just that.
The Autumn Desk is a revolutionary air purifier that transforms your workspace into personal clean air zones.
Unlike other air filtration systems that may take hours to purify the air, the Autumn Desk begins working immediately.
Put it right next to you while you work and create your own personal bubble of ultra-pure air.
This game-changing technology has been proven to remove 99% of all airborne pollutants.
Visit IQAir.com/US to learn more. Give them a call, 800-500-4AIR, 800-500-4247. Should kids and teens get the COVID-19 vaccine?
Is it safe for my daughter?
Have they been thoroughly tested?
Will my grandson be okay if he gets vaccinated? He's still developing.
The short answer to all these questions? Yes. The COVID-19 vaccine is proven to be safe and effective for ages 12 and up. Feeling good about the facts? Visit myturn.ca.gov today to schedule a vaccination appointment or find a walk-in clinic near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
We're not just in smart speakers. We're in a couple of smart ears as well. KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. It's time for your morning wake-up call. Here's Jennifer Jones-Late.
Good morning. So a reminder, if you work Monday through Friday, and you are already up, your alarm's already gone off, and you're out of bed, you only have to do this 2 more times. Yeah, see, that's why I like Wednesday. It's more than over the hump. It's the, I don't have to get up in the middle of the night day. And for you too. Welcome to it. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Here's what's just ahead on your wake-up call. Well, if you are a small business in LA, you can now apply for a $5,000 COVID-19 pandemic relief grant. Officials in Santa Fe are expected to give an update this morning, reportedly 9-ish our time, on the shooting by actor Alec Baldwin that killed a crew member on a movie set. And there are reports that criminal charges could still be filed. Not specifically that they could be filed against him, but it's just out there that there could be criminal charges coming. Not saying against whom. And a senior from La Cañada High School has been crowned the 2022 Rose Queen. 5:05, we'll talk with ABC's Karen Travers. The largest part of President Biden's social spending plan will likely be the climate portion, and according to reports, that part is mostly settled, with a total cost of at least $500 billion. So we'll get details on that and see what else is left to settle. That's coming up with Karen at 5:05. Well, let's start with some of these stories coming out of the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Small businesses in LA can now apply for a $5,000 relief grant from COVID-19.
Mayor Garcetti has announced the start of the new Comeback Checks grants program, as he says many businesses are still feeling the effects of the pandemic.
Businesses are caught in debt, wondering if they can hire people. They're waiting for the main streets to come back.
The window for business owners to apply for relief is open through November 2nd. Officials say applications will not be accepted on a first-come, first-served basis. There will be 2 more open windows for businesses to apply. The city is using federal pandemic relief money to pay for the program. Blake Trolley, KFI News.
The LA City Council has pushed back the deadline for city employees to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Employees now have until December 18th to show proof, or they could lose their jobs. Kids between the ages of 5 and 11 may soon be able to get a smaller dose of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. ABC's Steve Osunsami says an FDA advisory panel endorsed shots for the younger group yesterday.
They were convinced by a study from the drug maker where Pfizer gave 2,200 children a third of the regular dose and found that the two shots were 91% effective against symptomatic disease.
The next step is for the FDA to decide on approval. The LA County Health Department says garment manufacturers and office sites are having the biggest problem with employees who don't wear masks. The health department says from the 16th through the 22nd, inspectors looked at 1,008 restaurants, 78 bars, 26 breweries, wineries, and distilleries, and 21 lounges. Inspectors say they found 85% of bars were doing a good job checking the vaccination status of customers. The department says while 85% is not bad, still leaves room for improvement. Officials in Santa Fe are expected to give an update this morning on the shooting that killed a crew member on a movie set. ABC's Kaylee Harding says many items from the set have been taken as part of the investigation.
A search warrant revealing investigators seized at least 3 revolvers, 9 spent casings, and multiple boxes of ammunition, some found loose in a fanny pack. It's not clear whether they were blanks or bullets.
Actor Alec Baldwin accidentally fired a loaded gun during a rehearsal last week, and cinematographer Helena Hutchins was killed. Officials have said there could be criminal charges filed in connection with the shooting. Well, Atlanta took Game 1 of the World Series 6-2 win over the Astros last night. The game got off with a historic start with the Braves, with Jorge Soler becoming the first player to begin a World Series with a home run. It came off just the third pitch of the game, and the series continues tonight. It's Game 2 in Boston. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk with ABC's Karen Travers all about the president's social spending plan. The climate portion of it is where there was a hiccup. Seems that that part has been mostly settled at a big price tag, I might add, but also there was a big part of it called the Clean Electricity Performance Program that is out, and we'll talk about why on that. But Dave Joseph, good morning to you. What's up on the 91?
Well, good morning, Jennifer. We've got trouble on the eastbound side of the 91 at Knott Avenue. It's a crash blocking the carpool lane traffic stop and go from Valley View Street. Culver City, southbound 405 at Venice, look out for a stall in the carpool lane. Now in Carson, the northbound 405 at Carson Street had an earlier crash that's been cleared. And in Mid-City on the 10 eastbound at Arlington Avenue, look out for a crash off to the shoulder. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Dave Joseph.
5:05 on your wake-up call. Karen Travers, good morning to you. So let's start with these reports that the mostly settled portion of the climate portion of the social spending plan has come to fruition, maybe?
Yeah, that's what sources close to the negotiations are telling us. Does that mean there are no more hurdles or hiccups for that? No, not necessarily. Things are still coming together. But the White House very much would like to have the president travel overseas, he leaves for Europe tomorrow, and be able to say that even if negotiations continue on the broader overall agreements on this social spending plan, that the climate portion is locked in. Because he is going to a very significant climate summit on Monday in Scotland, world leaders gathering to make new commitments to reduce greenhouse gas emissions over the next decade. So the White House would like the president to be able to point to American leadership on this, to be able to push other countries to make significant climate commitments and investments. So we're hearing that the climate portion will be about $500 billion, making it the largest part of the social spending plan. The big thing, though, that is out, thing that would have been sent from
Karen, we are losing.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, we lost 90% of what you said over there. You said the biggest portion that is out is...
The Clean Electricity Performance Program. And Joe Manchin, a critical Democratic vote from West Virginia, he was opposed to this. So we're surprised, perhaps, given how much leverage he has. That is now out of whatever will be the final package. That does mean that there's $150 billion that would have gone to that program that they can shift to something else. that's going to be a big question as to what that is used for and what else becomes kind of the centerpiece of this climate portion.
And no surprise that Manchin would want that out,
No surprise.
considering West Virginia clings to coal.
Yes, and he has been clear, he says, of what he is in favor of and what he would be opposed to. So this wasn't a 11th hour curveball. The president had proposed this months ago. This is something he talked about during his campaign, so that wasn't a secret either. I think it's perhaps not surprising it ended up here, but it is still, that was a significant part of the president's overall climate proposal. Yeah.
Oh, now we've lost her completely. Oh, I'm just going to go ahead. Oh, there you are. Okay, before you go, you are traveling with the president, correct?
Yes, we leave today. The president leaves tomorrow. First stop is Rome and a meeting with the Pope at the Vatican, then a economic summit in Rome, and then on to Scotland for that climate summit.
All right, awesome. I'll let you go, Karen, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Have a great day. Thanks.
You too. See you later. ABC's Karen Travers. Oh, boy. Sorry about the connection. You just never know. Everything clicks in, it sounds fine, and then, whoop, technology goes away on us. But there you go. So the president will then be traveling starting, as she said, tomorrow. The 2021 United Nations Climate Conference will be next week in Scotland, and President Biden is attending, but there is somebody who is not going to be at that conference, somebody who is always at that conference and really had planned to be there to push what her country is doing for climate change. That's all the hints that I will give you, but we'll tell you who it is coming up at 5:50 with ABC's Tom Rivers. Let's get back to some of these stories coming out of the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Hate crimes in L.A. continue to climb.
LAPD Chief Moore says a hate incident is just as bad as the crime itself.
Hate instances escalate into hate crimes, much like a precursor that these types of incidences, we want to investigate, we want awareness, we want to understand where they're occurring, when they're occurring.
Moore says hate crimes in L.A. are up 48% so far this year at 483 cases. There were 327 cases this time last year. Cases of hate incidents, which are verbal and nonviolent in nature, are up 88%. 341 cases so far this year versus 181 last year. Steve Gregory, KFI News.
Well, the boyfriend of a woman whose young son's decomposing body was left in her apartment in Texas has been charged with murder. The mother faces lesser charges. The couple left her other kids to fend for themselves in the unit last year. CEO of the nonprofit Children at Risk, Bob Sanborn, says this is a sad situation.
The fact of the matter is that Texas has always relied on teachers to be sort of that line of first responders with child abuse. And these kids never got to that place where a teacher could identify what was going on.
Deputies found the boy's skeletal remains in the apartment over the weekend. Well, a judge says Vanessa Bryant can conduct depositions with LA County Sheriff Villanueva and LA County Fire Chief Gerald Osby. Bryant is suing the county for emotional distress following news that first responders took photos of the crash site where her husband Toby and daughter Gianna were killed. No photos were ever released publicly. The county says it wants Bryant to undergo a psych evaluation to determine if her distress is related to the pictures or the fatal crash itself. The city of LA has secured a $224 million federal loan to pay for the construction of a wastewater treatment facility in Van Nuys. Rajika Fox with the Environmental Protection Agency says low-interest loans will lead to big savings for the city.
We're going to be saving over $81 million for LA ratepayers, money that can be utilized for other purposes.
The more than $458 million facility will recycle wastewater and help build up groundwater levels in the city. Northwest City says the facility will help the city reach its goal of using 70% local water. A school in the California Valley has identified an outbreak of COVID-19 among its students. Valencia High School says 33 of its students have tested positive for the virus. The school says the COVID-positive cases are primarily on its cheerleading team. The school has asked the LA County Department of Public Health to help it come up with a plan to contain the spread. A grocery store chain in SoCal could have to pay about $1 million in fines for allegedly not providing paid sick leave for workers affected by COVID-19. The Diego Latino, which does business as a super, has been cited for COVID-19 related violations at 38 markets across SoCal. The California Labor Commission's office says some workers have had to work while sick, some had to apply for unemployment while quarantining, and others have had to wait for months to get paid. Well, Irvine voted to back plans to build an OC vet cemetery within the city following 10 years of political gridlock.
Irvine Mayor Farrakhan says it's important for the city to join the other 33 cities that already support the building of the cemetery in Gypsum Canyon in Anaheim Hills.
Even though we were hoping to have it in Irvine, I'm happy that we're all kind of moving the same direction.
Veterans Alliance of OC President Nick Baradino says thousands of cars each day will see the cemetery off the 91 freeway.
It's going to be a reminder about the sacrifices that so many have made, and a true reminder that freedom isn't free.
Orange County's already put up $20 million to start preparing the land. In Orange County, Corbin Carson, KFI News.
Netflix is taking steps to turn a former Army base in New Jersey into a state-of-the-art production facility. The state is taking bids to develop the base, which was closed in 2011, and Netflix is expected to submit a bid for nearly 300 acres of the base. If the plans go through, the facility would become the company's second-largest production location. A judge has thrown out a request by pilots at Southwest Airlines that they be exempt from federal vaccine mandates. The judge in Texas says requiring employees of Southwest to be vaccinated against COVID-19 will improve the safety of air transportation. The judge says because Southwest is a federal contractor, this mandate is required by law. The Biden administration has updated its international COVID-19 travel restrictions for people coming into the U.S.